New Mexico is trying to dig out of a huge budget deficit that could be as much as $500 million. A lot of that is due to falling oil and gas prices, but how much is due to government waste and, in some cases, downright dumb decisions? News 13 investigative reporter Larry Barker has uncovered a prime example that started years ago and is still costing us millions.
It's an expensive, bizarre machine few have ever seen, and no one has ever seen it work. It's hidden away under tight security inside this government building. From the lobby, you take the steps down to the basement, wind through a maze of sterile hallways, and through the double doors. Inside a small, specially built concrete block chamber, you'll find the massive 10-ton device. No, it's not the missing Roswell spacecraft. Technically, it's called a biological mass energy extraction and recovery device. But most people around the state scientific laboratory know it as a mistake.
In fact, it was a colossal blunder we first told you about in 2013. It's a glaring example of government waste and incompetence at its worst. A snafu that is costing taxpayers today millions of dollars to correct.
Even though the BioMir device was installed just 6 years ago, today a team of demolition experts are ripping it out. Walls are being torn down and concrete is being jackhammered. This is what happens when government officials screw up. The man responsible for cleaning up this mess is General Services Cabinet Secretary Ed Burkle.
We would never do that today, Larry. We would never do that again.
To understand what happened, you have to go back 10 years. Planners were designing a new state scientific laboratory in Albuquerque. They decided New Mexico needed an animal digester. That's right, an animal digester. You see, the state scientific lab not only deals with human health issues, but animal welfare as well. Veterinarians with New Mexico's Department of Agriculture are charged with investigating and preventing outbreaks of disease that affect the state's animal population: deer, elk, horses, cattle, sheep, prairie dogs, mice, even fish. Because some illnesses are contagious, like hoof and mouth and plague, the carcasses of diseased animals must be safely disposed of. In the past, they were incinerated, but air quality regulations today prohibit that option. The answer? An animal digester. Jeff Whitty is New Mexico's Agriculture Cabinet Secretary. He spoke with us by satellite from his Las Cruces office.
What it does is it'll break down animal carcasses into a safe, disposable form. A tissue digester is really a green way of disposing of carcasses that may have contacted diseases that we really don't want out into the environment.
Without going into too much detail, a tissue digester uses heat, enzymes, and pressure to reduce animal carcasses as big as a cow to a sterile slurry that can be safely discarded.
Let's just say we ended up having some disease outbreak in the state of New Mexico. If we didn't have one of these, we'd be in serious trouble.
So the state shelled out $800,000 for a handy-dandy Hydrol Pro BioMir animal digester. The gargantuan 2-story stainless steel contraption was shipped to Albuquerque, installed in the basement of the new state lab, plugged in, and turned on. It didn't work. In fact,
it never worked. It never worked.
So the state shelled out another $700,000 in a failed effort to get the digester to, well, digest.
They did everything in their power to try to get the old digester to work. After months of analyzing and evaluating, it was decided by all concerned that there was just no way to make the old one work.
There were a couple of things that went wrong here. Number one is that we bought immature technology that had not been proven in the marketplace. We should have never done that.
The state didn't have a fallback. We didn't have a warranty. We didn't have a safeguard on making sure that the thing would work with the current contractors. They went bankrupt. There was nobody there to fix it.
So what do you do with an $800,000 stainless steel machine that doesn't work? Well, buy another one, of course. The cost to taxpayers for tearing out the old equipment and installing a brand new one, $2.3 million.
The size of the tissue digester required us to remove walls, to remove mechanical and engineering systems down at the scientific laboratory, to be able to get a crane to come in and remove the old digester, and now we have to put the new equipment in. That, by the way, is going to occur in September of this year. So a lot of that $2.3 million was in what we call the demolition and decommissioning services of the prior tissue digester.
The old animal digester was taken apart and hauled away last month. However, it's not exactly a worthless hunk of junk. The two-story steel apparatus will be sold to a scrap metals dealer for about $1,500.
Is this chapter over, the tissue digester debacle?
Larry, not until we get the new equipment installed and we can prove it's operational can we say that we have successfully turned a new chapter. But we have every expectation that that will occur.
Is it going to work, Jeff?
Absolutely. I feel 100% confident that the new equipment's going to work.
The new animal digester will be installed here in the State Lab sub-basement. It's expected to be operational by the end of the year. And once you add it all up, the digester will have cost taxpayers some $4 million. Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.